And welcome back into Community Conversations here in the Concord TV studios. I'm Josh Hardy, and we have a really fun episode today with our friends from Fellowship Housing Opportunities. And sitting to my left, of course, are Ben Dion and Herb Carpenter, who have been friends of Concord TV for quite a while. It's great having you guys here. I feel like we could have just done a show just chit-chatting about everything else Concord related. But we're talking about a very significant milestone, the 60th anniversary of the organization. So I thought it'd be great to come in and have you guys talk about, you have an event coming up, but also just a little bit about Fellowship Housing and about kind of the history, that 60-year, maybe not the comprehensive I'm not going to put pressure on you to know every year, every milestone, but maybe help us as we get through the next 30 minutes about some of the key milestones and help folks understand why this has been such a great organization here in Concord. So I guess maybe just a quick kick things off. I think a lot of folks watching this might recognize you, but maybe starting with you, Herb, maybe just real quick, like how you got involved with Fellowship Housing and about your role as executive director.
So I got involved with Fellowship Housing being on the board of directors, and then was ready to serve as president of the board, and we had some turnover with the staff, and so I stepped in as executive director, not really intending to stay, but it just was perfect fit for me, and it worked out. Put my name in to be hired and was hired as the executive director. So I've been doing that now for 6 years, and really enjoy it. I enjoy the mission, the ability to effect change as a small organization within the community and get things done, if you will, that sometimes can be a lot more complicated in larger organizations, which is where my experience was.
Right. You guys get so much done with a relatively small team, but a big community impact. And Ben, you're a big part of that as well. We were joking before about with the job title, which I gave up in my head trying to regurgitate the job title, but you do a lot in the organization. So tell us a little bit about your role, how long you've been with Fellowship, and just sort of some of your insight on being with Fellowship.
Yeah. So it's Director of Development and Community Engagement. I think it encompasses a lot with the organization, because getting our name out there and talking to people about how we can help them, I think is a huge part of the organization. Even though we're a small organization, I like to say that we're pretty small and mighty, because we do affect a lot of change, but also we're a small team that's fairly close. I think we all know each other, what we're doing, what we're working on, and try to help with that mission. I found Fellowship Housing and immediately kind of fell in love with the mission and what we do. I think me and Herb talked for over an hour and a half, 2 hours when I interviewed for the job, and I left saying, I want to be a part of this because of the mission, helping people with mental illness, especially with affordable housing, which is a huge thing nowadays, all over the state and the country. So I think that was the biggest thing, that I was ready to go and help this organization and then continue this mission for the next 60 years.
Yeah, I think something you both mentioned or alluded to is how a small team can often mobilize more efficiently or reach parts of the community that maybe bigger organizations aren't able to. I mean, we find that as a small nonprofit media organization, that the connections we've made and knowing Concord really well makes it so that we're better to more efficiently serve than a bigger media outlet that doesn't know the people and doesn't understand the layout or the circumstances. Have you guys, in general, does that sort of kind of summarize as a small but mighty nonprofit, that efficiency that you're able to operate with? Does that,
Most definitely, because the office is small. We have people, residents, clients that we serve coming to the door, paying rent. You get to know them, you get to know some of their needs. We have a unique connection in this community with the Behavioral Health Center, or Riverbend in our case, and so that we can share information with them if we see that someone's in need from a housing perspective of some services. We can at least make that contact so that they can help out on the clinical side, which we do not help with.
you need housing first, and then everything else, it makes it not easier, but you kind of like, without housing first, figuring out your mental health issues or even education, like without that foundation, it's much more difficult. And I think there are statistics that back that up and anecdotal evidence. So is that sort of the same concept here, that getting folks into housing allows them to, maybe they need someone to help connect them with Riverbend, but it makes it more manageable to do? Does that?
It seems like the conversations I've had with our partners and organizations that we work with, that's the very common trend, is the housing, after the housing is put forward and they either have the housing or are ready to make that step, all the other kind of, if there's any other issues or struggles, whether it's addiction or other services that are needed, it becomes easier to deal with them for the most part.
Yep.
Concord Coalition and homelessness, I think, sees a lot of similar things as well.
Yep.
And it kind of, that's kind of the first step. I wasn't as familiar with that, coming from the small business world and helping with resources like that. But I've seen it. Talking to our residents and hearing some of their stories and kind of realizing like, oh wow, if they didn't have affordable housing with us or an organization like us, they wouldn't be able to take care of the rest of their life and figure out what needs to be done next. And we can help with that, whether it's Riverbend or other services that we need to help them connect with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think they find it difficult, anyone would find it difficult to focus on all of those things. Food, without having shelter in place first and some place to call your own. So
I think other people, for those at home watching, if you think about like, if you've been like between apartments or trying to figure out selling your home and on the market, everything else is so much more difficult during that. I think maybe folks could empathize with that, where it makes everything else you're doing much more difficult as you're trying to figure out your life circumstances. To pivot a little bit, because we are here celebrating 60 years, you have an event coming up, and we're going to shout this out probably 2 or 3 times during the episode. Coming up in June, I know it's at the B&H stage, downtown Concord.
Yes.
If you give us the date and maybe for folks to know how they can sign up to stop by and have a fun night. Yeah,
the celebration's on Thursday, June 11th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Bank, New Hampshire stage. It's not a typical celebration, I like to say, because it's more like networking style. We want people to come and go as they please. We'll have a few guest speakers. We'll also have a video premiere or a video about our organization, which we've never done before. And then maybe some few surprises in between. Might be other announcements or other things that happen. So I kind of want to leave a little bit to for people to discover when they come to the event. But 6 to 8 Bank, New Hampshire stage on June 11th. You can go right to our website to register, fellowshiphousing.org/events. And then find more information, register there.
And is this free to attend, but donations encouraged and welcomed?
Free to attend. Donations definitely encouraged. I encourage 60 just because it's our 60th, so
60
makes sense.
60. Every 10 years you get to ask for a little bit more. It's great.
Why not?
70 for 70. We were only doing 25 for 25, which I should have been doing 250 for 25 or something like that. I missed out on that opportunity.
I was going to do increments, but then I got to like 60,000. That's a lot to ask for, so I'm not going to do that.
Hey, but you wouldn't say no to 60,000 for 60 years.
Would not at all, no.
But I love that. I think the way you describe the event as networking, folks getting together, that to me, when I think of fellowship housing, it's about community. It's about, so I think that's perfect. It's not a sit in your seats and it's, I think of other events where you kind of go, you sit down, this one you can just go hang out and see people that, meet new people or chat with people you haven't seen in a while, and that's a great venue for that type of event. So
and we'll have seating. Some seating options.
Grab a seat.
Standing room. The high top tables. But we're inviting all our partners, community members, residents. I've had a bunch of residents that have called and said, "I want to come. I want to bring my my brother or sister or family and." To show them the organizations that has helped them through the years, which is really great. I love to see that. So we love to see everyone from the Concord community, everyone that wants to come check out, even just learn about us and what we've been doing over the past 60 years, or just to connect with Herb and say hi. And Yeah, it's been a great time. I'm really looking forward to it.
And the video monitor is fantastic in that
Yes.
room. So
Yep.
that's a great place to see the debut of that video that you mentioned.
Yep.
So very cool.
Excited.
So for the actual 60 years, I told you before we recorded, not going to put you on the spot for every date and but nonprofits have different eras or different significant milestones. Herb, are there a couple examples over the past 60 years where Fellowship hit certain points of, I guess milestone really is the best way to put it, of accomplishments for the organization?
So 60 years ago, there was a need that was recognized that because we're in a unique situation here in Concord with the state hospital right in our backyard. And there was a unique need that to a certain extent sometimes exists even today. So it hasn't been solved, but the community continues to work on it. And that is individuals that are being discharged from the state hospital without housing. And so there was a need that was recognized that these people are just in the streets, and it was the South Congregational Church group, a number of individuals there, also individuals from the Women's Club, that got together and said, we really would like to help resolve this situation. And they started with a group home, I guess you could say, on what was Wall Street is now Chesley Street in Concord.
Yep.
And that building is still there, although it's been rebuilt over the years. But they started and housed individuals that were basically homeless or being discharged from the state hospital. And from that grew to where we are today with a number of other buildings that are a mixed use, if you will. We have the original building on Chesley Street that is 24/7, and it's what's known as a licensed community residence in the state and with the state of New Hampshire. And all of our other units are independent living with support. So we, as I mentioned before, work with Riverbend to partner for that support. So those clinical needs that are necessary come from Riverbend, who go into the apartments much like they do other independent apartments and provide support. And yet we staff the 24/7 location with our own staff, and there's 12 individuals who are licensed for that live in that area. And so the other uses, Riverbend provides housing as well, and they filled in the gaps with 16-hour housing and some other 24/7, but we continue to work with them on our housing. And our entire mission was based on providing that support for individuals living with mental illness. And over the years, just simply adding additional units, or additional buildings that have been purchased and rehabbed for specific use. And we have single units available. We have 2 bedrooms with a shared living and dining area, or we have some that are 3-bedroom with a shared living and dining area.
So the mission has stayed the same.
Yeah.
Some growth in terms of the number of properties and those you're able to serve, but the mission has been very much consistent the whole way through.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Paige Cannon, who was our first executive director and really spearheaded this organization for a number of years before retiring, and came to us on the board after a period of retirement to help us through our board needs and continue that work. And she's been the foundation of Fellowship, and really we continue to work with her today and seek her advice every opportunity that we get. But she has been a driving force of the organization as well, and keeping us going.
It's amazing. Paige Cannon, you said?
Yes.
Okay, all right. A mover and shaker in the community.
Exactly.
It sounds like, for sure.
And she still comes by and checks in, and just, the residents still know her, the ones that have been with us for a while. And she's had a significant impact on the organization. Me personally, just because she's when I started, she came right in and we met for coffee and she talked about the organization. It makes you want to help more just because just talking to her, and I love when she stops by and just checks in with us.
Yeah, she sounds incredible. And having a mentor like that who really knows the organization through and through and the community through and through. Are there other notable people, whether it's former board members or board chairs or notable people over the last 60 years that you can think of?
Of course, all of our board members that have served over the years. No one stands out in particular, but yeah, the service that they're providing us has been extremely valuable as well. And I think really, and I think Ben referred to it previously, was this combination of two needs that really, for years, have been driving needs in the state of New Hampshire: housing and mental health. And any community that you are in, those two needs seem to always come to the surface, if you will. And to have both of those working together just has been a great fit for the community and for us. And I think that's probably the main driver and has kept us going and successful.
Yeah, having a strong board of directors is so important for any nonprofit, and being able to have, for us, like with Concord TV, having some board turnover just with time to get new, fresh ideas, but having those who really know the organization well is critical for like the long-term planning.
Yes.
So that's great stuff. Now, yeah, Ben, do you have another thought?
I think everyone that's been involved with the organization, whether it's working with, on the staff or on the board of trustees, has some connection to mental health or housing. And I think that's the thing that really stands out to me, is just realizing that everyone has some type of story that drew them to Fellowship Housing for some type of service or to work with us. I think all the staff, we all know that, but also every board member, which is, I think, really unique. And I think it means more to us too.
Yeah, for everyone who's involved to have that connection or have their reason that they're passionate for the mission is really important. Now, something I like to ask any nonprofit we bring in here, and this could be for either one of you, is what can the Concord community do to support Fellowship Housing? What is it that you guys need? When you talk to someone out there and they go, how could we help, or what can I do to help? What are some ways the community can help?
Of course, financial help is always a need. We are in a time where there's limited state funding or eroding state funding, if you will. There is no reimbursement for housing, either with the Medicaid program or with the state or with the federal government. The way that we obtain our funding a lot is through HUD organization, where we are able to provide rent subsidies, if you will, and the balance is paid under a HUD agreement, whereby we were provided funding to build and support the housing, and can utilize for that, where the individual only needs to pay 30% of their income. But there are always those types of needs. Last year we were able to raise some funds, purchase a van, so that we can transport individuals to appointments, or we try to do an event, if you will, whether it be in the community or just a fun event where we can go and support with something like that is always beneficial. We do have some ongoing support where we get, during Christmas, where East Congregational Church in Concord is very supportive and has always provided gift packets for individuals that are living at the house, and we're trying to do that ourselves with funds that we raise. I think that pretty much is where we're looking for assistance. But then any expertise we have, where people want to come in, local banks or organizations that come in and talk to individuals at a monthly meeting that we do about savings and financial assistance, if you will. Individuals do have some assistance in that regard, but just to know how things work. If you had a checking account, often individuals don't have checking. We have We have computers available for individuals to go on the internet, job search, or things like that. Support like that is always helpful. And
yeah, so you can have at these gatherings of residents where someone could come in and talk about a financial issue or fraud prevention or certain issues.
Right, fraud prevention. I mean, we do have, individual, you, myself, all of us have challenges with that, and they particularly if you're not savvy enough to know, then it becomes even more of a challenge if you're on the internet and you believe things that are happening. So training in that regard is always important, and right now that kind of rests with the staff to help individuals. We try not to interfere, but don't want to see them get taken or hurt either. So we feel we're pretty good at trying to protect them, or talk to them about if they get behind with their rent or things. Work with them on payment plans. Encourage them not to reach out to some large organization that's going to give them a large interest loan or something.
Yeah, kind of loan sharks that'll
take advantage of them. So
the scale. I mean, really anyone is susceptible to those things. But yeah, especially if you're a new renter, or if you recently got a car and then you get a text that says it's from Easy Pass and you go, oh, I didn't realize I have to. It is so easy to accidentally click through something that sounds real. Yeah. So
simple advice for individuals that do own cars. Simple advice about car maintenance and not, things that need to be taken care of if you're a vehicle owner.
Yeah.
Or where to go for a particular issue is helpful as well.
Yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is there's a lot of things I realized this when I got to adulthood. There's a lot of things you have to keep track of. There's a lot of financial, healthcare, and so for folks who, are transitioning to independent living, those are all things that they're having to deal with. So
I think the biggest thing too with our organization is that we're the interested landlord. I like to say that a lot just because we are helping them, they deliver their rent checks to us and they come talk to us. A lot of the times I think we're the first people that they talk to about different things, even if it's not related to what we're helping them with.
Right.
So we can point them in the right direction or just kind of be there for their support. I've answered many phone calls where they're asking us something that's not related to what we help them with, but we try to help as best as we can because
it sounds like the best landlord possible, one who's
we try to
looking
be
out for your best interests, right?
And we have that trust with them too. They come to us with those issues or just something that they need help with or guidance, and which is really cool to see that we've built that foundation with them that they feel comfortable with us too.
I mean, I love the project you guys did with the community garden. That was something that I think Matt or someone from Concord TV covered was this community garden, and just a cool idea of bringing your residents together for this common project.
Yep.
So I thought
we're going to continue that again this year.
Awesome.
We've already made some plans for transportation for our residents and starting that up. But hopefully, as the weather gets a little warmer, we're getting
into growing season. The nights are warm enough.
Yep.
Coming up here soon. So
at one of our monthly events, they actually planted seeds, and they're in our windows at the corner, growing. And individuals stop by and just look at them, and they'll be ready for transplant. Probably not till the end of the month, but we'll see how it goes and get those translated. But it's how they can move along with their seedlings and how they'll grow in the community garden, and so that's been nice.
That's great. Love to see it. All right, Ben, now's the time. One more plug for the 60th anniversary event coming up in June.
Yes, 60th anniversary celebration, Thursday, June 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Bank of New Hampshire stage. All are welcome. We'd like you to register at Fellowship Housing.
It's good to get a head count.
Yeah, fellowshiphousing.org/events. But also you can just come and hang out with us. Grab we'll have some light refreshments and food, and watch the premiere of our organization video. Listen to some speakers. We'll have some surprises along the way. And just enjoy the night and reconnect with someone that maybe you haven't seen in the community in a while, or just meet someone new. And really, I really want to see the Concord community come together and celebrate with us.
Yep, it'll be a great night. I'm looking forward. I'll be there. My wife and I will be there celebrating. Nice. So thank you both, Herb and Ben, for joining us on the show. You guys have been great friends of Concord TV. We love what Fellowship Housing does for our community, and anything we can do to help, we're happy to do it. So with that, we're going to wrap up the show here. And our audience here, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be back with future episodes. I know we have something with Concord Hospital lined up, but we'll have some other themes coming up later on this spring. So we hope you'll tune in then. Thanks so much.
Thank you.